It's so weird that I don't hear the clock right now. Hi guys, I'm Jasmine and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that I'm sure has been in the back of a lot of our minds recently, which is that social media is destroying our lives and just the negative effects of consuming too much social media and TikTok. I'm sure a lot of us are aware that consuming too much social media is definitely not good for you, and I think that's just basic knowledge at this point. But the first time that it was really brought to the forefront of my mind was a few years ago when I was still living in Vegas. I had an old friend who was telling me about this book that she was reading called Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, and the book talks about using technology in a more intentional and deliberate way rather than letting it take over our lives. Now, to be honest, I still haven't read this book, guys. I have been meaning to read it. I do have like 3 books that I'm reading all at the same time, and I'm a slow reader, so it usually takes me forever to get through a book, but it is something that I do want to read. And recently I have been watching a lot of YouTube videos that just talk about the negative effects of social media, particularly in women, which I will link the videos down below. And one of the videos that particularly caught my attention is TikTok is Worse Than You Thought by a channel called The Moon. And in that video, it basically talks about the unethical intentions of the company that runs TikTok and how they have purposefully made the app addicting, literally hiring people like experts in psychology to make it addicting for people to use, and also using TikTok as a way to potentially influence what society consumes. I know it sounds a little crazy, but I highly recommend giving it a watch if you are interested in learning more. But essentially, I decided to do my own research. And what I have learned so far in terms of facts is that 1, social media is linked to social isolation and lower life satisfaction. A study published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine concluded that the more time we spend scrolling through social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook, the more likely people are to perceive themselves as socially isolated. And when I was reading the articles, it discussed about how a lot of this kind of has to deal with FOMO, like, you know, fear of missing out, because we get to see like all of our friends or like, I don't know, really cool people that we follow, like influencers, living their life and really just showing the best side of them, and us feeling like we're missing out on that. So I think that because we're just seeing that all in like the span of a few minutes, we feel like somehow we're missing out because we're not partaking in that event or whatever those people are doing, which is not necessarily true. And I feel like when people do get FOMO, we're not really being appreciative of the present moment at hand and really being mindful. And that's why I feel like sometimes being on social media can just be bad for your mental health, which honestly I'm sure we all are kind of aware of at this point. But yeah. And another study that I found was a 2018 British study that linked social media usage to disrupted sleep. And I think, as we all know, when you don't get enough adequate sleep, that definitely affects you and impacts your life. Like, you lose your sense of concentration, you lack proper awareness to your surroundings, you have increased fatigue, and you can even have impaired memory loss, which a lot of these can really hurt you and affect your performance and make you do worse if you're in school. So after everything that I've learned, I realized that I needed to do something. TikTok is one of the most popular social media apps in the most recent years, with over 1 billion active users. And because it is a newer app, there hasn't really been a lot of studies or research done around the app yet. However, just like with all social media, over-consuming it does have negative effects to it. And just like with Instagram and Facebook, there is still a need for social comparison. I feel like a lot of times when you're looking at people like with their mini vlogs and they're traveling all over the world, or of that perfect couple with their dream home, or even someone who's just simply cooking a perfect meal in their kitchen, like, you can't help but compare yourself to those people sometimes and be like, wow, why isn't that me? Or you can even just be watching someone with their get ready with me beauty routine or skincare or just dressing themselves up or whatever, and maybe that person has the ideal body that you want, and that can just lead to negative self-body image and also potentially eating disorders. And of course, all of this can just simply be linked to jealousy, envy, dissatisfaction with your own life, and depression. I think another valid assumption is that TikTok shortens people's attention spans. There has been some research done on people's attention span in the most recent years, and basically they're saying that our attention spans are to that of a goldfish at this point, where it can be anywhere from like 15 seconds to 3 minutes long, which is really not that long. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my attention span to be any shorter than it already is. Once again, there haven't been any studies done with TikTok in particular about this, but I feel like it's safe to assume that with just the short form content that comes with TikTok and the endless scrolling, that those types of videos are kind of just training our attention spans to be shorter. And another thing about TikTok is the endless scroll function, where I'm pretty sure oftentimes you can find yourself just mindlessly scrolling through the app, waiting for that like one video that hits you that you love, and then you gotta move on to the next one, scrolling to find the next best thing. And when you're consuming videos on TikTok, you're not really so much as in control of what you're consuming. I mean, sure, you can skip on to the next video if you don't like it, but the thing is that when you open the app from the start on your phone, it automatically opens up content, a video that already starts playing and you're already consuming it. Sure, you can decide to scroll on, but it starts the moment you open the app. Whereas with other platforms such as YouTube or Pinterest, you get to choose what you consume. So none of the content really starts playing when you open up YouTube or Pinterest. You kind of just get to choose. Like, you pick which video you want to watch. Whereas with TikTok and Instagram, you kind of just get hit with the content right from the start. And I feel like when this happens and you do get sucked into the app like TikTok, you just keep on scrolling and eventually you lose track of time, and before you know it, when you close it, you're like, what the hell was I just watching? And you kind of just feel less productive throughout the day. I mean, I don't know the amount of times that I've been on TikTok where I tell myself like, hey, I'm just gonna look for like 5 to 15 minutes, and then 45 minutes to 2 hours later, I'm like, what the did I just watch? Or what was I even doing? So needless to say, I think that ever since I deleted it, my life has felt a lot more quiet. I think it's nice when I am using other apps, and I feel like I'm more in control of the type of content that I am consuming and what I am putting into my mind, if that makes sense. Another negative aspect of TikTok is the potential to spread misinformation.
Welcome to the fake news awards, which are totally real, unlike the really fake news, which is fake and not real.
Now, just like with the internet, of course, anyone can post about anything, and not everything that's posted on TikTok is necessarily always true. Like, you kind of just have to fact check, just as you would have to with the web or with other social media apps. There's not really a fact checker on there to guarantee that the information you're hearing is true. And because of this, I have heard that TikTok has also gained the ability to influence political campaigns, which I'm not like a complete expert in politics. I'm just gonna be honest. I do, of course, care about my voting rights and all that. But yes, so I heard from one of my friends recently that TikTok actually influenced the outcome of the elections in the Philippines, which has gotten the current president elected into his position. I'm not gonna say any thoughts about the president because I don't know that much, but I do feel like with this kind of power, it can definitely be dangerous if placed into the wrong hands. And the last thing about TikTok that I wanted to bring up, which I'm sure you've heard about by now, is that TikTok has been considered a national cybersecurity threat, and the reason for that is because of data privacy practices. TikTok has already been banned in several countries around the world, such as Pakistan, India, and even some regions of the US. There's a reason why a lot of political officials in the US have been telling families and their kids to not download the app anymore, and it's because of data and privacy concerns. And yes, I guess you could say with technology and social media, it's kind of almost given at this point that we're losing a lot of our own privacy rights just by using those apps, because sometimes nothing is really free in the technology world, I would like to say, at least. But yes, there is concerns about how TikTok collects information on its users and shares them with potential third-party companies, and also about who has access to this information and how the data is being used. Now, there is also limited information on how the app functions, and also TikTok collects information from the other apps that you use on your phone. Like, do you ever get those feelings where TikTok has been a little bit too accurate on your FYP or For You page, and you're like, man, my phone's really listening to me? Well, that's why. It's because TikTok has access to the other apps that you are using on your phone, and it tracks what you do on those apps, whether it's like texting, what you're searching in Google. Even if you don't search it or send that message, it will track whatever you are typing. And that's why the For You page is so accurate sometimes. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, Jasmine, I'm not like a big celebrity or the president of the United States. Like, who cares what I'm doing on the app? Well, same. Even just thinking about myself, like, who cares about the 10-minute self-meditation videos I'm doing when I'm in the bathtub, or me texting my husband that I saw a corgi butt on the way to Target, except for potentially the companies that want to market certain products to me and they're trying to figure out what type of content I should consume in order for me to buy their products and consume more. Yeah, that's probably why, because they want you to spend more money. Anyways, yeah, maybe you care, maybe you don't, but at the end of the day, privacy is privacy. So what I decided to do was, when it comes to social media, I decided that you really just have to choose your battles and pick which platforms are best for you to use. And of course, that's different for everyone. I'm not gonna lie, guys, like, I kind of hate social media. I don't know if you feel this way, but to me at this point, it just feels like a job. And yes, I do love that I have the opportunity to connect with people from all over the world and, you know, stay connected to people that maybe I knew from high school. But I just feel like when it comes to posting, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok, it just feels like a job when I have to post about what I ate for breakfast in the morning, or whether or not I worked out, or whatever. And like, you know, if you do that, that's totally fine. I'm not judging you. But I'm just saying, when it comes to myself, it feels like a job to me, and I'm just tired of it. I'm over it. And so I decided that I'm not gonna do that anymore. I don't want to adhere to the social pressure of having to post every little single thing that I do, because I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy my life, living in the present moment, and just, yeah, just that's it. Does that mean that I'm going to necessarily delete all of my social media apps altogether? No. Rather than that, I just decided that I'm going to limit myself and really just decide which apps I think are best for me. And another big reason why I feel like I can't delete the apps is just because, as an entrepreneur, which I really hope I don't sound pretentious. I feel like the word entrepreneur just sounds pretentious. Is that just me? But as an entrepreneur, whatever, I feel like social media in a way is necessary when it comes to promoting yourself and your personal brand, especially when it has to do with like visuals and aesthetics. So me as a personal stylist or me and my husband owning a photography studio, it kind of goes to show like, yes, we probably should have an Instagram for that. But I do believe that although TikTok has this really big potential for you to go viral and give yourself more exposure to people in the world, and it is the latest trend, I think that TikTok itself just really doesn't align with my own personal values because of the company that runs it, and I find it somewhat unethical. Not necessarily the people that use it, but just the company itself doesn't align with my personal values. And so I decided to delete TikTok and limit my use of Instagram to 3 times a week. I'm trying. Don't quote me on that because I've been trying to do that for a while and it's been really hard. But I have been using it less and I'm really proud of myself. So I checked the screen time on my social media usage for the past week, and you know, before when I still had TikTok, TikTok and Instagram would always be on the top of like my most used apps, and I was like somewhat ashamed knowing that. But recently, because I've been trying to be really more mindful of that in the past week, it has gone down. And well, TikTok's gone because I deleted it, but Instagram is now not in the top 3 of my most used apps. Watch it be the top 4, like number 4 or something. I'm just kidding, it's not. But I'm really proud of myself even for just that small accomplishment, and I have found myself using it less and less. For the apps that I do want to still consistently use would be YouTube, of course, and Pinterest, just because I really feel that it's super helpful in terms of envisioning what you want for yourself and planning out like what you want your dream wedding to look like, although I'm already married, but you know, you get it, right? Like what I want my dream kitchen to look like, or home, or how I want my life to look like. It kind of falls into that trend of like doing vision boards now, which I think is really cool. So I have a feeling that Pinterest is really gonna blow up in the next year. But yeah, I'm still gonna keep Pinterest, LinkedIn, because I feel like it's really good just for business purposes and career life. But other than that, I really just want to try and limit my use and be more mindful of my own social media consumption. Now, of course, I am not telling you to delete TikTok. I don't want to tell you what to do. I just really wanted to share the information that I've learned in the past week because I did find it helpful, and I really hope that you guys did too. And just based on what you end up learning for yourself, I encourage you to make your own decisions on what you decide to do with your own social media consumption. I'm not your mom. But I really hope that you found this video useful or learned something from it, or at least somehow find it entertaining. I don't really think I was that funny in this video, but yeah, if you enjoyed it in the least or found something useful out of it, then please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, hit that like button, and subscribe to my channel for more future videos. And if you made it to the end, please go ahead. I'm gonna try to do this thing that Salem Tovar does. I love Salem Tovar, by the way. Shout out to her. If you haven't watched her videos, you need to check her channel out. But yeah, if you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and comment a leaf down below and let me know which social media platforms are your favorite or your least favorite and why. And until then, I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.